Hi friends, it's Vervain. Welcome to my kitchen at Climbing Rose Cottage. Today we're going to be doing a full cleanse and reset of what's basically my kitchen witch altar, which is this beautiful but mildly neglected windowsill. While the hearth, or in modern times the stove, is usually considered the working altar of a kitchen witch, and while that is where I do the majority of my cauldron stirring, the windowsill over my kitchen sink feels more like an altar to me. The hearth of this kitchen is kind of in shadow. All the stove surfaces are burners, and even if I wanted to hang something on the bit of tiled wall above it, it would get so grease-spattered so quickly. My hearth does what I need it to do without much alteration, if you will. The sink, on the other hand, has this big, beautiful window over it, which means it's absolutely bathed in sunlight. It has this nice, deep windowsill with plenty of space for decor. There are a number of things that naturally go there, like soap and so on. And honestly, I think the aspects of kitchen witchery which take place at the kitchen sink are just as magical and just as important as those that take place at the stove. At the stove, I stir visions of wellness, love, joy, and abundance into the food that I make. But at the sink, I cleanse the fruit and vegetables that come into our house of both physical and energetic grime. I wash the dishes clean of both food residue and residual energy to prepare them for the next meal and uphold the standard of order and beauty in our home here. And perhaps more importantly than both of those things, at the sink, my mind has time to wander while I wash things. The whole practice of washing is meditative, and by making the windowsill my altar, I can manipulate the container that shapes those meditative moments. I have space to dream up new ideas, think through challenging problems, envision the future, and count my blessings. All that said, this area of my kitchen has become a bit of a mess. We moved into this house while I was pregnant, and I just didn't have the energy to be super intentional about anything other than my body and my baby, and even then, some days were easier than others. And then, of course, I had a baby, which did not actually make things easier at first. I'm now a full-time mom and homemaker, and while I'm still kind of in the training phase of this new job, I am both trainer and trainee. My baby's about 3 months old now, and I'm getting into the swing of things. She's sleeping through the night pretty consistently, and I finally have enough time and energy to get things done during the day besides feeding her and changing her diapers. This means I finally have the energy to deal with the chaos that happened as a result of moving into a new home while pregnant, and then being pregnant in that already chaotic home for several months, and then having a newborn baby in it. So today I'm doing a deep clean, energetic cleanse, and a full reset on this part of my kitchen that I think of as my altar. I started by taking everything down off the windowsill and washing all of it. Washing away not just the dust and ambient kitchen grease, but also the layers of chaos I had allowed to settle in my kitchen. Washing away the energy of neglect and inattention, in some ways the opposite of intention. I wanted everything I would put back up there to be physically clean, energetically cleansed, and there for a reason. I did the same with the sun catchers and hanging decor. Even though they weren't as dirty and I knew I wanted most of them back up there and they weren't technically preventing me from cleaning the windows, I wanted the ritual of starting from scratch and the ritual of cleaning everything, even if some of them just got a quick wipe down with a dust cloth. Some of the cleaning is physical, some of it is energetic. The method is the same. Everything needed a good spray down with the thieves cleaner, but the worst offender was this tile backsplash behind the sink. Whoever designed this really knew how to put the splash in backsplash and did not understand how physics affects the movement of water. It's my professional opinion that the immediate area surrounding a sink should always be designed to automatically drain into the sink. However, I didn't design this sink, so I get to work with what I'm given and be grateful for it. For today, I can't repair the years of water damage and wear and tear that this tile backsplash has been through at the hands of whoever lived here last, but I can get it clean, and while I do that, I can dream about how someday I'll replace all the tile in this kitchen with a mosaic made from beautiful and sentimental pieces of broken china. I recently inherited a bunch of beautiful rose-patterned china from my aunt after she passed away, and many of the pieces I use in love, but I somehow also ended up with no less than 23 demi-tasse saucers with no matching cups. I was actually immediately so excited when I discovered them because I knew that they could become part of this china mosaic I've been envisioning, and that 23 demi-tasse saucers would certainly be enough to make all the areas of tile backsplash in the kitchen look cohesive, even if every other piece was a thrifted or sentimental one-off. It may look like I'm just cleaning, but to me, this sort of daydreaming coupled with the relevant meditative labor is a sort of magic. I don't manifest the life or the kitchen of my dreams by sitting in lotus pose and chanting some incantation with crystals around me. I manifest the kitchen of my dreams by cleaning it, dreaming about it, envisioning it, cooking in it, eating in it, loving my family and friends in it, gradually collecting pieces for it and putting my back into it. I guess I did do some more traditional spell work to claim this particular kitchen to work with, though, now that I think about it. This was the first house we looked at, and despite its imperfections, I knew it was the one pretty much right away. During a showing, I inconspicuously collected some dirt from the front yard for a spell jar to lock it down amidst competing offers. And now we live here, and all its beauty and all its flaws are ours to work with, so make of that what you will. We don't use traditional cleaners in this house, if carcinogenic chemical cocktails are what you call traditional. 𝓤𝓔𝓧𝓣 is based on the medieval recipe for 4 thieves vinegar, which, incidentally, is a major component of a whole slew of vanishing spells. Seems pretty appropriate for a household cleaning potion if you ask me. The main botanical ingredients are clove, lemon, cinnamon, eucalyptus, and rosemary, which have an assortment of magical and non-magical associations with cleansing, banishing, protection, healing, abundance, and mood lifting. It comes in a super concentrated form, and it's pretty much all I use to clean most things. I just pour a capful of Thieves Cleaner concentrate into a 16-ounce spray bottle and top it off with distilled water. This time, because I felt like being a little extra, I added about 10 drops of rosemary essential oil. It's not necessary for it to be effective, but it does help one of my favorite facets of the Thieves' scent come to the forefront, and I feel it adds something to the magical aspect of cleansing. Also, I just love rosemary. So much so, in fact, that that's what I named my beautiful baby daughter. Has my love for it gone too far? If you'd like to make the switch to Thieves Cleaner for yourself, I'll put a link in the description down below where you can check it out. If you purchase any Young Living products through my link, like Thieves Cleaner or Rosemary Essential Oil, I'll make a commission and you'll be eligible to gain access to Oil Coven, my online community of witchy oil users and plant magic makers. We have a private Discord server where we share information and ideas, and sometimes we get together for moon circles over Zoom. It's a great resource for learning about oils and plant magic, and a really great opportunity to connect with other like-minded witches. Personally, I use Young Living products every single day in my home and on my body, and even on my baby. We use the Seedlings baby wash and baby oil. I use their fruit and veggie rinse on all the produce I wash. We use their hand soap, the Thieves toothpaste, mouthwash, and laundry soap, and I even make my own deodorant, body wash, and perfume from Young Living essential oils. I love knowing that I can trust all their products to be 100% clean, and especially with a baby in the house, it brings me so much peace to know, especially now that she's licking everything she can get her mouth on, that there aren't harsh chemical toxins like those found in conventional cleaning products all over every surface in my house. Again, if you're interested, check it out. I'll pop a link down below in the description, and if you have any questions at all, always feel free to shoot me a message. Now that the whole area is physically clean, I wanted to go in with another layer of magical cleansing. This juniper bundle is one of several I made when I was living at the Citrine Palace. It's from the same tree my runes are made from, and might actually have been a byproduct of making the runes, but honestly, I don't quite remember. Juniper is another one of my favorite botanicals for magical cleansing, especially smoke cleansing, and I had such a special relationship with this particular tree, it's nice to be able to bring part of that to this new space. I was just telling my husband the other day about how special my relationship with the Citrine Palace was, and how I hope that, in time, I'll be able to develop a similarly special and magical relationship with Climbing Rose Cottage. I think I will. Maybe burning this juniper bundle here is helping to set that intention. If I was a perfectionist, I'd have waited until the lighting was at the perfect angle to best show off the rising smoke in this shot, but, surprise, I'm not. Once everything was physically clean and magically cleansed, it was time to start putting things back, but this time with greater intentionality. Every decision must be deliberate, every item must serve a purpose. I didn't want to put anything up here just because I kind of liked it and didn't know where else to put it. Altar does feel a little too formal of an appellation for this, but that is really what this is, and I wanted to lay it out with symmetry and significance. The Venus flytrap, or the Venus as we sometimes call her, was non-negotiable. Somehow, my relationship with this little carnivorous plant does feel reflective of my relationship with the goddess Venus. She's now bloomed 2 springs in a row, and this is the longest I've ever kept any houseplant alive. Besides, she works for her keep. The Venus only drinks distilled water, and so do my diffusers, so this little IKEA watering can of distilled water was an obvious next choice. We keep them throughout the house near the most frequently used diffusers, and here by the Venus, since they're so much prettier and easier to use than the big plastic gallon jugs distilled water comes in. Snack break! As a kitchen witch, cooking has always come really naturally to me, but baking has always felt much more finicky and mysterious. It's long been a dream of mine to be able to bake as intuitively as I cook, so the other day I decided to try to make a batch of muffins with no recipe and hardly any measuring, just to see what would happen. This was my first attempt, and they turned out delicious, but just a little dry. I'm pleased to say I've since made a couple adjustments, and I feel like I've actually maybe possibly mastered the chocolate protein muffin. Who knew the secret ingredient would turn out to be applesauce? Anyway, the old plastic compost containers were bothering me, so I set out to replace them. I actually decluttered this jar the other day, despite my witchy inclination to keep all jars always, since I couldn't think of a specific use for it in my house, but I rescued it from the donation box just in time. I dressed it up with a little hand lettering, and now it's perfect. Both of these kitchen witches are going right back where they were. The beeswax one was a gift from a friend, and I just adore the smell and energy of beeswax. I picked the other one up at an antique store years ago. Isn't she wholesome? She just makes me happy. These two sun catchers were also both gifts from friends, and I love them both. I think there's something special and warm about the energy of a gift, and they carry a bit of the gift giver's chi. Plus, the moon was given to celebrate me hitting one of my business goals with Oil Coven, and while the sun was not explicitly a housewarming present, I did receive it right after moving in, so it feels like one. The fact that they are a sun and a moon just makes them even more perfect. I have no idea where I picked this thing up, but I've always loved it, and flowers are always a yes, so up it goes. This I made years ago when I was super into making jewelry, and I've come close to getting rid of it a few times, but especially now that Venus has become the primary deity I work with, and perhaps that's a subject for another video, seashells feel like they have a new relevance in my life, so this one stays. I had this little iridescent diffuser up here before, but I felt like switching things up, so I pulled my original desert mist out of the Imaginarium to use in the kitchen instead. I think the warmth of the macrame diffuser cover plays nicely with everything else I have going on in this room. This terracotta sprouting tower has to go somewhere, and I really love that it brings more life onto this altar. Between the Venus and the sprouts, there's a lot of aliveness going on here, and it feels really good. I'm considering the possibility of acquiring another houseplant, but I think I should hold off for now. This basket of plant starts was a housewarming gift, and I'm pleased to say it definitely warmed the house. I loved having it in the window, and I love the basket, and all these little green lives were too much responsibility for me at the time, which is why they look like this now. To actually fill the sprout tower with life and make sure my kitchen has a steady supply of fresh, delicious sprouts, I'm adding a spoonful of an organic sprouting seed mix to each tier except the bottom where the water collects, and I'll just give it a half a cup of water or so once or twice a day. After some consideration, I decided to move the diffuser to the other side of the windowsill and make space for fresh flowers here instead. These yellow roses are not fresh, but I'll fix that in a bit. For now, they're still golden and lovely. I liked the feeling of having most of the items sit on a base of some kind. The Venus on a china saucer, the watering can on the trivet. The sprout tower has a foundation built in, and so I placed a little slab of 𝓛𝓐𝓖𝓘𝓒 under the flowers. You'll see this pattern continue on the other side of the windowsill as well. This beautiful china bell was a gift from my mother-in-law after we moved into Climbing Rose Cottage, and I love bells for sound cleansing, so perfect for an altar. I'm placing it on this lovely antique wooden honeycomb trivet. Wait, no I'm not. Wait, yes I am? Wait, no, I'm really not. So, anyhow, you saw me add this beautiful ginger jar. I really wanted it up there because honestly I just love looking at it, but I felt a little iffy about it since it is functional art, and I really wanted to come up with something to actually use it for, which I eventually did, but more on that later. Then you saw me place this insanely magical yellow quartz cluster. I haven't charged this with any particular intention, although I might soon. I just feel that it adds a certain warmth and joy with its own natural magic. I got this pair of pear candles at Goodwill ages ago when I was first looking into feng shui. Apparently, items that come in pairs are thought to promote loving, harmonious energy, and what could be better than a pair of pears? I'll never light them, but I love to look at them, and to me, pretty much all fruit and flowers are symbols of fertility and abundance, sweetness and joy. There's another 𝓛𝓐𝓖𝓘𝓒 slab as a base for the bell, and a flower of life as a base for the ginger jar. Speaking of things that come in pairs, these little bunny figurines are absolutely adorable and are also symbols of fertility and abundance. Also, both of these have been repaired with kintsugi, which I think has its own beautiful symbolism. Something about making do and our past making us who we are, and what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I spent a lot of time futzing around with where to put these two gorgeous crystals, and I honestly haven't fully decided yet, but I'll spare you that footage and just let you take in these rainbows. This rainbow calcite and this polished quartz tower are among my favorite crystals in my embarrassingly oversized collection. Again, I could make something up about how I've charged them with such and such intention, but the truth is, I keep them up here because I just love to see the light shine through them. A lot of my crystals unfortunately live in a drawer, but I love having these two out so I can appreciate their beauty in the light more frequently. I knew I wanted to put this reed diffuser on one of the hooks over the sink as soon as we moved in, so it had been hanging there since I unpacked it, but I was so overwhelmed with everything going on that I never set it up, so this is the perfect opportunity. I'm using peppermint to discourage unwanted visitors of the sort that tend to be particularly attracted to kitchens, and this bottle is only maybe about 20% full, so I just dumped the whole thing in. Stronger is better for this sort of application, if you ask me, but the carrier oil is still important because it will slow down evaporation and make this last way longer. I'm using fractionated coconut oil because it basically doesn't go rancid. In a few days, I'll flip the reeds around, and then I'll continue to flip them upside down every week or so. I almost certainly won't be able to smell this once it's up there, but I think the critters I'm trying to deter will, and they won't like it. Real quick before we move on, this tissue box has been driving me crazy. My husband always wants to have a tissue box in every room, and I hate looking at them, especially in the kitchen. So I've been collecting various vessels from the thrift shops to use instead. I think this owl is supposed to be a candle holder, but it works perfectly for this. This isn't going on the altar, but I needed to do it for my own sanity, and I think it's super cute, so I thought I'd show you. Now, I'm about to go get some actually fresh flowers for the vase, but first I'm going to start the diffuser so that the whole room will already smell amazing when I come back inside. I chose to do a blend of spearmint, sage, lauris nobilis, and jade lemon. Spearmint for cleansing, protection, and a fresh start. Sage to bless this space as sacred. Lauris nobilis, or bay laurel, for success, and jade lemon for joy and happiness. If you're ever curious to learn more about oil magic, I actually created a 14-day free text class on the subject. As long as you're using a phone number based in the US, just text oil magic to 73735-MAGIC or 737-356-2442. Then, over the next 14 days, I'll text you short lessons and inspiration on how to incorporate essential oils into your magical practice. I've also written a book on the subject, Essential Oil Magic, Natural Spells for the Green Witch, which I'll link in the description below. If you want to take it a step further and connect with other witchy folk who are into using essential oils to level up with plant magic for wellness and witchcraft, you might be interested to learn about Oil Coven. Oil Coven is my online community of wishy oil users and plant magic makers. We have a private Discord server where we share information and ideas, and sometimes we get together for moon circles or live classes over Zoom. It's always a really good time, and we'd love to have you join us. I'll post a link where you can learn more in the description down below, but either way, the text class is a really great way to get started down this path. Once again, all you have to do to take the text class is text the 2 words oil magic to 73735-MAGIC. That's 737-356-2442. Hope to see you in class. Okay, time to cut some flowers. While it may be true that all I did was throw some seeds on the ground and then water them every evening, I'm still super proud of myself for growing all these zinnias from seed. There's something really magical about going from tiny seeds that feel like almost nothing to a whole garden full of bright and beautiful flowers. And sure, my garden may not be perfectly manicured or symmetrical, but neither am I. We're both a little wild and pretty low maintenance. And while fresh flowers in the home are always a good thing, there's just something so magical about having a vase of flowers I grew myself. Every time I see them, I get all the usual benefits of bringing the beauty of the outdoors indoors, and I also get reminded of the power of daily small actions to add up over time to create something truly beautiful and amazing. The windowsill was starting to feel pretty full, but I do love this little cast iron teapot cauldron. However, I mostly use it for burning things, so I decided it belonged by the hearth. My husband was kind enough to install a little hook under our cabinets so it can hang just beside the stove. I'm extending my work here today a little beyond the windowsill itself, as some of the containers we keep on this part of the counter are sorely lacking in beauty. We don't even drink Folgers. This isn't even Folgers in here. Someone bought it when they came to visit, and my husband has been refilling it with our coffee since he prefers scooping from a canister to digging through a bag, and I can't really blame him. So we hit the thrift shop to drop off some declutter boxes and popped in to snag this lovely glass canister. It does have a tiny chip on the lid, but it's not sharp, and we both really like it. And oh my goodness, it's so much better than the red plastic. I replaced the drab salt box with this beautiful lidded bird mug. 2 of these are holding Q-tips in the bathrooms, and now the 3rd one is here. Any ideas for bird mug number 4? I'll do more with this coffee corner soon, but for now, I'll leave you with one last vessel upgrade. Remember how I said I did end up finding a use for that beautiful ginger jar? I decided to fill it with this electrolyte powder I use multiple times a day and put the ugly canister hidden away in backstock. My favorite thing about it might be how this fabulous antique basilisk spoon from Basel, Switzerland is the perfect size for a serving of the powder and fits perfectly into the center of the ginger jar's lid. However, moving that down to the counter left me with one empty space on the windowsill altar. I pondered my options overnight and thought I had decided to move my money bowl here from my other altar and rework it. But when I tried it on for size, it looked way too big for the space and just felt wrong. I considered the Climbing Rose Cottage spell jar, my oil lamp, and a candle, but none of these felt quite right. Then it hit me, my Venus statue. She would get a lot more appreciation here in the kitchen than in the cluttered Imaginarium where I'd had her positioned. But something wasn't quite right about this. There. Perfect. It's funny how something that was an afterthought kind of became the star, and I feel pretty silly for not thinking of it before. At least I got it figured out in the end. Incidentally, when I first placed her here last night, I had a sink full of dishes that I had mostly convinced myself could afford to wait until morning. But once I had welcomed this goddess of beauty into the space explicitly in this way, I immediately felt like it would be wrong to leave a sink of dirty dishes in front of her on her first night there. It felt like the most appropriate offering to her would be to, what was it I said earlier? And wash the dishes clean of both food residue and residual energy to prepare them for the next meal and uphold the standard of order and beauty in our home here. For a finishing touch, I decided we needed a dish for the sponge to sit on so it wouldn't drip onto the tile, and I remembered those 23 demi-tasse saucers I had set aside in the garage. Well, I guess I'm down to 22 for my dream mosaic backsplash now, because this one has a job. Well, this has been quite a transformation, hasn't it? I spared you the close-ups of what this looked like before, so you'll just have to trust me that the cleanliness alone is light years ahead of where it was. Just cleansing the space would have been a huge improvement, but I really love that this no longer feels like just a dusty windowsill haphazardly adorned with plants and cluttered decor, and instead, it really feels like a beautiful, magical, and intention-driven working altar. There's plenty more to be done in this kitchen and throughout this house. I'd still really like to replace this dish soap bottle, for example, when I'm on the hunt for a beautiful way to store these sprouting seeds. But for now, for here, I believe I've done what I set out to do. In the meantime, I'm curious to know, do you consider kitchen witchery to be a part of your practice? And if so, have you ever created an altar or sacred space in your kitchen? Do you have any tips or ideas for others looking to create their own kitchen witch altar? And then, would you like to see more videos from me about kitchen witchery or sacred spaces in my home? I'd love it if you'd let me know in the comments. Whenever I hear from you, it's always a little drop of joy in my day. Thanks for joining me on the journey of transforming this sacred space from messy to magical. If you enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up, and if you'd like to follow along for more enchanting adventures at Climbing Rose Cottage, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell below. I'm sure we'll see each other again soon. Until then, be well, seek beauty, and leave a little magic everywhere you go. Blessings, 𝓼𝓐𝓘𝓤.